All right, today we are diving into a concept that feels like it was pulled straight out of science fiction, but it's actually rooted in some very real, very cutting-edge technology. Just try to picture this, a mobile, modular fortress in space, something designed to completely change how we think about living and working beyond Earth. Let's break down how this whole thing could work.
You know, the entire idea really boils down to one powerful question. What happens when you take three revolutionary but totally separate inventions and you fuse them all together into one single mission? Well, the answer is something absolutely transformative. So, what are these three big ideas? First up, you've got a shield that can literally deflect the deadliest radiation in deep space. Second, a starship with a power source that can last for a century. And third, a data center that uses the freezing vacuum of space as its own perfect and totally free cooling system. Now, on their own, each of these is a game changer. But when you combine them, you create something else entirely. And that is the most important part. As the source material really hammers home, these aren't just pie-in-the-sky ideas anymore. The building blocks are actually here, and the whole conversation has shifted from what if to, okay, how do we do it? This is a very real potential blueprint for our future out there.
So that brings us to the big concept itself, the diamond shield array. What is it? Well, at its heart, this is a completely new kind of asset for space. Think of it as a secure data fortress powered by a nuclear core, wrapped up in a radiation-proof shield, and it can go pretty much anywhere in our solar system.
Let's break that down a bit. We're talking about a space station that isn't just stuck in one orbit. No, it's mobile. It's modular, which means you can keep adding to it. And it merges these three incredible technologies to create something that can survive permanently in the harsh environment of deep space, all while operating on an industrial scale.
To really get how this thing works, we've got to look at its three core pillars of innovation. Each one solves a huge problem that, honestly, has held us back from really pushing beyond low Earth orbit. Let's start with the first one, the shield.
So, pillar number one is the shield itself. And let me tell you, this is not some thick slab of lead. It's an advanced, incredibly thin material made from a diamond lattice that's reinforced with carbon nanothreads. These are super strong, microscopic fibers. This design has two main jobs: bouncing away dangerous radiation and keeping the whole structure's temperature stable.
The source material calls it a protective cocoon, and that's just the perfect way to think about it. This shield is designed to make the most dangerous parts of space, we're talking about the radiation belts around Jupiter, not just survivable, but actually safe enough for really sensitive hardware like quantum computers, and eventually for people.
Okay, next up is the engine and the power plant, all rolled into one, the nuclear Starship. This completely replaces things like conventional fuel and giant solar panels with a small, long-life nuclear battery. This thing provides a constant, powerful stream of energy for decades, powering everything on board and enabling advanced propulsion that can push it continuously for months on end.
And this slide just lays it out perfectly, doesn't it? On the left, you've got solar power. It's great, but it needs sunlight, and it gets weaker and weaker the farther you go from the sun. But on the right, you have nuclear. It's a constant source of energy anywhere, anytime, even in total darkness. It is the key that truly unlocks the entire solar system for us.
And this third pillar, honestly, this might be the most elegant part of the whole design. It's a data center that doesn't fight its environment, it uses it. See, quantum computers and big server farms generate a ton of heat, which costs a fortune to cool on Earth. But in space, you just radiate that heat away into the void. Simple.
Just look at that number. Negative 455 degrees Fahrenheit. That is the background temperature of the universe. The Diamond Shield Array takes advantage of this by turning deep space into the most efficient and, get this, completely free cooling system you could ever imagine. This lets it achieve computational power that would be insanely expensive to maintain here on Earth.
Okay, so we've got the three pillars, the shield, the power, and the computers. But how do they all come together? Well, this is where that modular design is so genius. The array isn't built as one single giant piece on Earth. It's assembled up there, in orbit.
And the assembly process is just brilliantly simple. First, you launch several of these self-contained units into orbit. Then they use standardized connectors to dock with each other. They interlock, forming one massive single vessel. And because it's modular, the station can just keep growing over time, eventually becoming a true mega station.
And once it's all put together, it's not just sitting there. Thanks to that nuclear core, the entire megastation can move. The source material describes it as being like a living organism, which is a fantastic way to picture it. A self-sufficient entity that can travel from Earth orbit over to Mars and then all the way out to the asteroid belt and beyond.
So once it's assembled, you can see how functional the design is. You've got multiple units forming a rotating ring, which could create artificial gravity for people down the road. The central spine is where the data center is housed. The nuclear module sits at the rear, providing all the power, and the whole thing is wrapped in that protective diamond shield hull.
So what's the big deal? What does this all mean? Why does it matter so much? Well, the Diamond Shield Array isn't just another space station. It really represents the beginning of a completely new era for humanity in space.
I mean, the versatility is just incredible. This thing isn't a one-trick pony. It's a data center that's better than anything on Earth. It's a research lab with direct access to deep space conditions. It can act as the main router for a solar system-wide internet. It's even powerful enough to be a space tug, literally moving other huge structures wherever they need to go.
And this all leads to a really crucial shift in how we think. Up until now, we've basically been visitors in space. Our habitats, like the ISS, are fragile, and they're totally dependent on Earth. This concept represents the shift to becoming builders in space, creating permanent, powerful, and self-sufficient infrastructure. And that is why the source material makes such a bold and powerful claim. This isn't just about one station, it's about the foundational technology that could kickstart an entire economy in space. It marks the beginning of what it calls the solar industrial age. So, all of this leaves us with one final, absolutely fascinating question to think about. If you have a tool this powerful, a mobile factory, a data hub, and a research outpost all rolled into one, what's the first thing you build? Where do you go? The possibilities are just staggering.